The rising star. When Valentino Rossi first appeared in the 125cc World Championship, nobody could have predicted what was coming. He was 13 years old when he started racing mini-motos. By 16, he'd won the Italian Sport Production Championship, and at 17, he made his Grand Prix debut in 1996. This wasn't just another talented kid. This was something different. Rossi had style. He'd hang off the bike in ways that looked impossible. He'd brake later than anyone thought safe. He'd find grip where others found gravel. And he did it all with a smile that suggested he was having the time of his life. His first season in 125cc showed flashes of brilliance mixed with typical rookie mistakes. He crashed, he learned, he improved. By his second year in 1997, everything clicked. He won 11 races out of 15 and took his first world championship at just 18 years old. The way he won told you everything. Aggressive overtakes, tactical racing, and an ability to read his opponents that felt instinctive. He'd study riders during practice, memorize their strengths and weaknesses, then exploit every gap. His celebration after winning the title involved dressing up as a convict, complete with ball and chain. It was theatrical, unexpected, and purely Rossi. He moved up to 250cc in 1998, and the pattern repeated. More wins, more podiums, and another world championship in 1999. 9 victories that season, total domination. He beat rivals like Loris Capirossi and Toru Ukawa with a mix of raw speed and psychological warfare. But what made young Rossi special wasn't just the speed, it was the personality. After wins, where he'd celebrate with elaborate theatrics, dressed as a prisoner, riding a scooter on the cool-down lap, bowing to the crowd like a gladiator, taking a hit from a blow-up doll. MotoGP had never seen anything like it. The sport had always been serious, technical, reserved. Rossi turned it into entertainment. This was the rising star. Raw talent wrapped in showmanship. The kid from Tavullia who raced like he was born on 2 wheels. And he was about to step up to the premier class where legends are made. The Doctor. In 2000, Rossi moved to 500cc, the premier class, racing's biggest stage. He joined Honda and was given the number 46, the number that would become iconic. But it was his nickname that defined this era. The Doctor. Part tribute to his love of medical drama, part statement of his ability to diagnose and cure any racing problem. His first season in the premier class showed he belonged. He won twice in Britain and Australia. He finished second in the championship behind Kenny Roberts Jr. Impressive for a rookie, but Rossi wanted more. The 500cc bikes were brutal machines, 2-stroke monsters with explosive power and zero forgiveness. One mistake, and you were in the gravel, or worse. Rossi tamed them with a riding style that combined aggression with intelligence. Then came 2001, and everything changed. Honda built him the RC211V, switching to 4-stroke engines under new regulations. It was one of the greatest racing motorcycles ever created, and Rossi rode it to perfection. He won 11 races that season. He clinched the championship with 4 rounds remaining. He made it look easy, which it wasn't. The bike was fast, but others had fast bikes too. The difference was Rossi's racecraft. He'd let rivals lead early, study their lines, find their weaknesses, then strike with surgical precision. His battles with Max Biaggi became legendary. They despised each other. The tension was real, rooted in old karting rivalries and clashing personalities. Biaggi was serious, professional, image-conscious. Rossi was playful, irreverent, provocative, and it made every race between them electric. Rossi would beat him, then mock him with celebrations, dressing as a Roman emperor, taking a toilet to the podium. It was psychological warfare on 2 wheels. In 2002, he won 11 races again, another championship. The dominance was suffocating. In 2003, 9 wins, another title, 3 consecutive Premier Class championships, 5 world titles total across all classes. The Doctor had diagnosed MotoGP, and the prescription was dominance. What made this version special was the combination of speed and mind games. Rossi didn't just beat you on track. He got inside your head. He'd joke in press conferences, play to the crowd, dismiss rivals with humor that cut deep, and then destroy you on Sunday. His crew chief Jeremy Burgess became his partner in perfection. Together, they developed bikes, analyzed data, and turned good equipment into championship-winning machines. This was Rossi at his most calculating. Clinical when needed, spectacular when it mattered. The Doctor was in, and the competition needed serious help. The Yamaha Maestro. By 2004, Rossi had won everything with Honda. 3 straight titles, the best bike on the grid, the biggest salary in racing. And he walked away from it all. He signed with Yamaha, a team that hadn't won a championship since 1992. The M1 was beautiful but slow, dead last in the final 2003 standings. Most people thought he'd made a terrible mistake. Honda thought they'd proven who was really responsible for the success. The bike, not the rider. Then the first race happened. Qatar 2004. Rossi won on the Yamaha, beat the Hondas he'd just left, beat Biaggi, beat everyone. The statement was clear. It wasn't just the bike. That season, he won 9 races and took the championship. He'd moved to Yamaha and immediately made them winners. The turnaround was unprecedented. The bike got better because he pushed development in the right direction. His feedback was so precise that engineers called him a human computer. He could feel a 2mm change in ride height. He knew exactly what the chassis needed, but calling this era just about development misses the point. This was Rossi at peak creativity. His riding style evolved. More corner speed, less reliance on power. He'd carry momentum through sections where others had to brake. The M1 didn't have Honda's horsepower, so he found speed everywhere else. Smoother inputs, better lines, maximizing drive off corners. In 2005, he won 11 races. Another championship. His 6th world title. The rivalry with Seta Gibernau exploded that year. They'd been friendly until Jerez. Final lap. Rossi forced him wide at the final corner, took the win, and the friendship ended. Gibernau never recovered from that moment. In 2006, he faced a new challenge. Nicky Hayden, the American on the Honda. The championship went down to the final race in Valencia. Rossi needed to win, and hope Hayden struggled. He crashed trying too hard, pushing beyond the limit. Hayden took the title. It was Rossi's first loss since 2000, and it hurt. You could see it in his face on the podium, but champions respond to defeat. He came back in 2007 stronger, won 6 races and the championship. Then, 2008, 4 wins, another title, his 7th Premier Class championship, 9 world titles total. By then, he'd collected more Premier Class titles than anyone in history. 4 with Yamaha, 3 with Honda. The Yamaha Maestro proved that greatness isn't about having the best equipment. It's about making whatever you have perform beyond its limits. Rossi turned Yamaha into champions and cemented his legacy as the greatest of his generation. Some said the greatest ever, the rivalry era. By 2009, Rossi had won 7 Premier Class titles. He was 30 years old, still fast, still winning, still the sport's biggest star. Then Jorge Lorenzo joined Yamaha as his teammate, and everything got complicated. Lorenzo was young, hungry, and Spanish. He had speed and wasn't intimidated by Rossi's legacy. He had his own elaborate celebrations, his own style, his own ambitions. Their first season together was tense but manageable. Rossi won 6 races and took his 9th world championship, but Lorenzo won 4 races and finished second. The kid had shown he'd be a problem. The garage was split. Rossi's side versus Lorenzo's side. Different engineers, different approaches, growing animosity. In 2010, Lorenzo beat him. The young Spaniard won 9 races to Rossi's 2. Valentino broke his leg in practice at Mugello, missing 4 races, and the title was gone. But even healthy, Lorenzo had been faster. The dynamic had shifted, but the real shift was obvious. The next generation had arrived. Rossi made another shocking move. He left Yamaha for Ducati in 2011, a reported 15 million euros per year, the biggest contract in racing. It was supposed to be another masterclass in adaptation, like the Yamaha move in 2004. Instead, it became 2 years of frustration. The Ducati was fast in a straight line but couldn't turn. The front end was nervous. The bike demanded an aggressive riding style that didn't suit Rossi. He couldn't fix it. His feedback didn't translate to results. Ducati's engineers struggled to implement his requests. For the first time in his career, he looked ordinary. 7th in the championship in 2011. No wins. 6th in 2012. Still no wins. Just a rider struggling with a motorcycle that refused to cooperate. Meanwhile, Lorenzo dominated at Yamaha with the bike Rossi had developed. Casey Stoner retired as champion on the Honda, and a new name started appearing at the front, winning races as a rookie, Marc Marquez. This era defined struggle. The man who'd made every bike a winner couldn't tame the Ducati. Critics said he was finished, that age had caught him, that the sport had moved past him, that his legacy was being damaged with every race he didn't win. Rossi returned to Yamaha in 2013, older, humbled, but not broken. The Ducati years had taught him that even legends can fail. This version showed his determination. When things went wrong, he didn't quit. He kept pushing, kept learning, kept fighting. The rivalry era proved that even legends face adversity. How they respond defines them. And Rossi wasn't done responding. The old lion. When Rossi returned returned to Yamaha in 2013, expectations were low. He was 34 years old. The Ducati years had been brutal. Most thought his winning days were behind him. They were wrong. In 2014, he finished second in the championship behind Marc Marquez, 2 race wins, multiple podiums. The speed was back. In 2015, at 36 years old, he was fighting for the title again. He won 3 races, led the championship going into the final rounds. It felt like a fairy tale. The old champion against the young King Marquez and his teammate Lorenzo. Then came Sepang, the race that would define this era, the most controversial moment of his career. Rossi and Marquez clashed on track. Valentino believed Marc was helping Lorenzo by slowing him down. They battled hard, too hard. Contact was made. Marquez crashed out. Rossi was penalized, given 3 penalty points, and had to start from the back of the grid in the final race at Valencia. The racing world erupted. Rossi's fans blamed Marquez for interfering in the championship. Others said Valentino had lost his cool and kicked Marquez off the bike. The truth was somewhere in between, but it didn't matter. Lorenzo won the championship by 5 points. Rossi finished second. If he'd started normally in Valencia, he might have won his 10th title. The controversy split MotoGP down the middle. Yellow smoke filled grandstands. Marquez received death threats. The sport had never seen anything like it. He finished second again in 2016, still winning races at 37, still on the podium regularly, still the biggest draw in the sport. Tracks sold out when Rossi was racing. The Mugello weekend was a pilgrimage. His fan club had over 100,000 members. This version of Rossi was different from the young phenomenon. He couldn't dominate anymore. The speed was still there in flashes, but consistency became harder. Younger riders on factory bikes were faster over a season. The bike development focused on Lorenzo's style, then Maverick Vinales, then Fabio Quartararo. But the racecraft remained, the intelligence, the ability to read a race and make the right move at the right time. He continued racing until 2021, his final season at 42 years old. No wins in those last years, but moments of brilliance. A podium at Andalusia in 2020, stunning qualifying laps that put him ahead of riders 20 years younger, battles with riders half his age where the old magic flickered. The old lion showed that age brings wisdom. That experience matters, that a racer's heart doesn't fade just because the body slows down. His teammate Fabio Quartararo won the 2021 championship on the same Yamaha. Rossi finished the season in 19th, but nobody cared about the statistics. They cared about the legacy. He proved you could compete at the highest level into your 40s if the passion remained, and his passion never wavered, not once in 26 years of Grand Prix racing. The legend. When Rossi retired after the 2021 season, MotoGP lost more than just a rider. It lost its greatest showman, its biggest personality, its connection to an entire era. His final race in Valencia was emotional. Riders past and present came to pay respect. Fans filled the grandstands wearing yellow, his signature color. The ceremony lasted longer than the race. The number 46 had become synonymous with motorcycle racing itself. His career statistics tell part of the story. 9 world championships across 3 classes, 115 Grand Prix victories in the Premier class alone, 235 podiums, 65 pole positions, 142 fastest laps, more than 400 Grand Prix starts, numbers that will likely never be matched. But statistics don't capture what made Rossi special. It was the way he raced. Aggressive but calculated. Fast but smart. Spectacular but controlled. He made overtakes look like art. The pass on Gibernau at Jerez. The corkscrew move on Stoner at Laguna Seca. The final corner lunge on Lorenzo at Catalunya. Each one a masterpiece. It was the celebrations, the hair-raising theatrics after victories that made every win an event. The costumes, the props, the comedy that reminded everyone this was supposed to be fun. The blow-up doll, the toilet, the campfire, the Indiana Jones routine. Racing had never seen anything like it before, and won't again. It was the rivalries. Biaggi, Gibernau, Stoner, Lorenzo, Marquez. He made enemies because he refused to show weakness. Every battle was personal. Every championship mattered. Every slight was remembered and repaid on track. It was the connection with fans. Rossi turned motorcycle racing into a cultural phenomenon in Italy and beyond. He brought millions of people to the sport who'd never cared before. Grandstands at Mugello held 100,000 people wearing yellow. He made racing sexy, exciting, unmissable. After retirement, he moved to car racing, competing in GT World Challenge. He runs his own racing team, VR46 Racing, now in MotoGP. He mentors young riders through his VR46 Academy, developing the next generation. Pecco Bagnaia and Franco Morbidelli both came through his program. His influence continues even without racing. The legend phase isn't just about what he accomplished. accomplished. It's about what he meant to the sport. Rossi didn't just win races, he changed what it meant to be a motorcycle racer. He proved you could be fast and entertaining, serious and playful, a champion and a showman, professional and provocative. He transcended the sport. Before Rossi, motorcycle racing was a niche sport. After Rossi, it was global entertainment. Before Rossi, riders were athletes. After Rossi, they were expected to be personalities. He changed everything. From the rising star who announced himself in 125cc to the legend who retired on his own terms, every version of Valentino Rossi was unforgettable. The doctor, the maestro, the old lion, the greatest motorcycle racer who ever lived. His number was 46. His legacy is forever, and motorcycle racing will never be the same.